Hello, Infinite Game Nation. How you guys doing? My name's Leon Morton. My friends call me Jay. And I'm very grateful and thankful to Jeff and Debbie for inviting me to share some stuff with you guys today. I brought some notes out about a couple of things that I just want to call how to crush worry and how to start living a more awesome life. Mental practice during times of emergency or uncertainty or anxiety and worry is really probably something that most people would be like, what? You're going to talk about mental practice or mindfulness or meditation? And frankly, with the virus, things are crazy. With social distancing, it's literally putting people in places of isolation. And it's not ironic that in high security prisons, for example, what's the worst deterred torture is self-isolation. And that's because a lot of people just don't like to be alone with their brain. And it's a very serious thing. Like anxiety and rumination can take over. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but once that panic hits you, it's debilitating. It takes you completely out of your creative thinking mind, and now you're 100% reactive and being run around. You're even contagious to other people's emotion, as well as your emotion is contagious to other people. So I wanted to share some things with you today that you could utilize with your family and with your colleagues and friends, because when we're in a stressful environment like what this is for pretty much everybody around the world, and if you're stuck in a place where you're having to now figure out new ways of revenue, or you're trying to think of how am I going to social distance and still get my bills paid, or whatever those things might be, it might be important to you to really kind of think about how you're thinking, to think about how it is that your brain's operating, and what can you do to put yourself in a more empowered situation so that you're thinking from more creativity space, from more source thinking, from a place of cognition where you're able to really come up with some solutions and solution thinking. So just want to share that with you. People with perfectly normal brains and those with abnormal brains like mine. But it's very important that we practice a specific mental exercise that we can utilize for, first off, an instant stress release response, because that helps us think better. It helps us feel better too. And also, you just want to be in a place where you're going to put yourself at the best opportunity for your executive functioning, where you really want to excel. You don't want to be debilitated by the stress. And the stress is a real thing, and it's very, very debilitating when it comes to a person's performance. So if you want to perform at the highest level, you have to really work on training your brain. Now, I'm not talking about just straight typical meditation or mindfulness. Most people, mindfulness is great and contemplation is great, and sitting quietly by yourself and thinking and letting thoughts come and letting divine inspiration come to you, that's all a really good thing. But that's technically only one part. It's really only training one part of your brain. And you really need to do more if you want to be a peak performer, if you want to move to the highest level. So make no mistake, learning these mental tools, it is practice. It's just as much practice as it would be as if you train your physical body. And I'm a fitness guy. I've been in sports my whole life. I've been fortunate to work with NFL teams and professional athletes and performance enhancement and visualization and guided imagery and some of the things we're going to talk about today. But the mental practice is exactly what it sounds like. It's an effort. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's not going to be super quick. But I'm going to share with you some techniques that you can implement right away that are going to give you some instant results, and it's going to be a powerful thing. So I just wanted to share some of that with you. Differently than what most people do when they're, quote, meditating. So the goal, when you're in a stressful situation, one of the very first things you want to do is you have to get yourself out of a place of rumination or worry or anxiety. And one of the things that you can do for that is you can listen to your own linguistics. You can listen to the words that you're using, the words that you're saying to people. You can also listen to the internal dialogue that's going on. And if you're hearing yourself with a bunch of what ifs, like, holy shit, what if we don't go back to work until June? What if I have to make my mortgage payment this month? What if I have to? What if? That is a key term or key phrase that will indicate to you instantly that you're now working out of the amygdala. You're working out of the stress response in your brain. You're not going to be able to think clearly if you're in what if rumination. What if rumination is going to kill your opportunity for solution thinking. So part of what we're going to do is, as you start to think about how to train your brain, what you want to do is you want to consider, how do I discipline my imagination so that it's an empowering thing for me, as opposed to when it's in full-on panic or anxiety, it's the most negative thing for you because your imagination runs wild. So how is it that I can train my imagination? How is it that I can train and discipline my focus so that, yes, I can recognize I'm having these emotions, but I don't have to be these emotions. They're not me. They're just emotions that are coming from potentially the rumination, potentially the worry, potentially the what ifs, right? So we're going to talk about how you can get past that. And the reason why it's important is because emotions are contagious. There's studies going on right now in the biofield medicine and mind-body integration, which is where my specialty lies. And it's astounding stuff that's happening, but they're calling it non-local consciousness. And basically what that means is they're understanding that our cells pick up reverberation, they pick up vibrational waves, they pick up some type of energetic signal from other living beings. And specifically in humans, they're recognizing that the intent and influence is incredibly powerful. So if you're not paying attention to that stuff, you could be sharing some really bad stuff to people. You could be sharing some negativity that goes out without your thought, and yet does damage to other people, especially in your own home. Think about it. If you're in a place where you're in anxiety and rumination, and you've got teenagers or young kids in the house, you could go, yeah, everything's going to be fine, honey, everything's going to be fine. And they're going to know that that's complete bullshit, because you're exuding your emotional state, right? That's why state management is so incredibly powerful. You have to be on top of your game for state management, and especially in times of high crisis or in times of incredible uncertainty. So I'd love to share with you a couple of techniques that you can use today. We're going to end up culminating with a little group self-hypnosis session that you can take and use and reuse and practice and get better and better at it, and your body will respond quicker and quicker, and you're going to really be in a better place of a stress release response. So I'm going to share that with you. That's super cool. Don't get freaked out about the hypnosis thing. It's not like vaudeville stage hypnosis. Hypnosis is nothing more than helping a person redirect their focus and their attention, and then making an agreement with the person you're working with that we're going to work together towards a really powerful outcome. And we're going to influence your unconscious and your behaviors and your habits. And we're going to agree to do it for a very powerful result. And we're going to do it together. So anytime you're in real hypnosis or clinical hypnosis or medical hypnosis, or you just want to learn how to stop smoking or whatever the case might be, you are never at a place where it's like you're under. You don't go under. You're aware of the whole entire time. And so that's just a misnomer that most people have about true hypnosis and the value of that hypnotherapy and psychotherapy that utilizes hypnosis. It's incredibly powerful, and really what it's all about is just getting down underneath. It's getting underneath the hood, giving you tools that you can utilize when habits, patterns, triggers, when those things show up. It gives you more options to have better choices. So I'd like to talk to you about a couple different things of how we, first of all, help our state management in times of high stress or rumination or worry. The first thing we got to think about is our breath work and breathing. Most people don't consider their breath throughout the day. Most people definitely don't consider their breath when they're in situations where they're caught off guard. And that's where you really need to be aware of your breathing. Breath is your life energy. If you're not paying attention to your breath, shame on you. You can change your physiological state quickly just with breath. Here's an example. If you're feeling like you're kind of stressed out or depressed or you have some worry and anxiety, one of the fastest ways to implement your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one that you want to be operating in when you're in high strain, when you want to bring it down, you want to be in rest and relaxation. You don't want to be in fight, flight, fear, freeze. You don't want that. That's where your body's releasing cortisol and all kinds of stress hormones, and it clogs your thinking. So when you want high executive functioning, when you want to function at the best physically in your performance, you need to be in a place of calm thinking. That's why some of these top performers across all lines, I mean, you name it, whether it's a Navy SEAL getting ready to go into battle or go on a project, or whether it's a professional athlete that says, look, it's go time and I want the ball. These guys are very aware of their breath patterns, because breathing totally will dictate and affect your physiology, which will then dictate emotion, and it also dictates your performance capabilities. So one of the very coolest things you can do, it's a super simple thing, is you want to do a double breath. So in other words, whatever the tempo is of your inhale, you want to exhale double that time. And you'll just do that for a period of time. Side note, this is a great exercise to do before you go to sleep. If you did this to a count of 20, you probably won't make it to 20. It's really good. It's good for you. It's just very relaxing. So it would look something like this. You're going to take a breath in through your nose, and you're going to count whatever that duration is. Okay, so let's say your normal breath intake is at a 5 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You inhale. You want to slow your exhale down so that you're going to be able to exhale through to an 8 or 10. Okay, so it's like this. 5, and then and just push it all out. And it's as simple as that. If you'll do that 10 times in a row, you will feel your body just start to go. You'll literally start to relax. You will instantly activate your parasympathetic nervous system, and it's incredibly good for you. It's good for your overall well-being, and it's really good for your mind. So that's the simple technique for reducing stress quickly. Now I'm touching on the surface here. There's so much involved in breath work, and I've got a program and course that I'll continue to share some content with you guys, but that's one you can start right out of the gate with. And here's another one. It's called cube breathing, is what I call it. And it's basically you're going to do whatever your breath intake is, you're going to do it times 4. So if your breath is, you're inhaling up to a 5 or a 6, you'll inhale to that amount. Then you're going to hold your breath for that same count. Then you're going to exhale your breath, the abdomen breathing, exhale, pushing it all out for the same amount of time, and then hold your breath for the same amount of time. That's the cube. It's 4. So if it was 5 in, you'll hold 5 in, you'll exhale 5 out, and you'll hold 5 out. And that would be all 4 of that in the one process. This is a very powerful breathing technique, and this puts you more in a state of energy, while at the same time you're still in that high executive functioning place. So top athletes utilize this one. I know one guy particularly who was a Navy SEAL who utilized this as he was going like on the helicopter to the missions. So it's a very calming breath pattern, and yet your clarity and your awareness, your sensory acuity is heightened, and you're operating at a more optimal state, which is very, very important. So just wanted to give that to you. That's simple. The next thing for defeating worry and becoming more amazing and awesome is you got to pay attention to your nutrition when you're in a stressful situation. You have to pay attention to your nutrition, what it is you're eating and what it is you're feeding yourself. And if you're self-medicating with booze and drugs or alcohol or whatever, then stop that shit, especially in high stress environments, because it's not going to do you a bit of good, right? You've got to get nutrition in your body. You don't need to eat over amounts when you're stressed. You just eat to fuel your body and eat good stuff. And I tell people, stay on the outside of the grocery store, right? Don't go down those aisles. Stay on the outside where everything's live and good and wholesome for you. And then the other thing is exercise. If you'll exercise 30 to 40 minutes a day of medium to high intensity, so that means sweating, get to the place where you're sweating. Did you know that if you did that 3 times a week for 30 to 40 minutes at that high level of exercise intensity, that's better than pharmacological drugs for chronic depression? Literally, it's better than the Xanax and all that other shit that people take. And that's because when you do that, your brain releases feel-good endorphins. So that's another very natural and super simple way to overcome depression, anxiety, worry, rumination. And it also, if you match that with mindfulness during the actual workout, like if you'll be mindful of all the activity that you're doing in it, then you're twofold in the deal, right? You're working your brain and your body at the same time. So that's really, really good. So I'd like to talk to you quickly about what it looks like when I'm saying mindfulness training or some of these, what I call plasticity programming sessions. What literally instigates the neuroplasticity, what literally creates the new pathways is specific exercises. And again, it's not just sitting, being quiet in prayer or being quiet in contemplation, even though those things are very good. They do help you, and they do help reduce your default mode network activity, which is one of the main benefits of mindfulness or meditation. But there's other things that go on when you train your brain, like you do specific training sessions to train your brain for high performance and better performance outcomes, and to give yourself better options and choices. So it would look something like this. You take, and let's just say for now, join me in this, okay? Most people have a misconception about meditation and mindfulness, and they think, oh, well, I can't stop my thoughts. My mind goes crazy. I could never do meditation or mindfulness because I just can't stop my thoughts. Well, guess what? Neither can anybody. So that's not the point. The goal is not to stop your thoughts. The goal is to train your focus and train your awareness in a space of non-judgment, so that you allow your thoughts to just be what they are, which is literally thoughts. And they're not you. Like, your thoughts are not you. And this gets into a lot of really deep neuroscience stuff, but without going there, I can give you a really simple illustration that'll prove it to you. Right now, predict for me your very next thought. Go. You can't do it. You cannot predict what the next thought's going to be. Now, you can have intention, and I can say, I want to raise my arm, and my arm goes up. I can do those things, right? But that isn't it. See, our thoughts are just that. They come and they go, and they come and they go. And they only stay if you nurture them. And the ones you don't want to nurture, don't nurture. They're just thoughts. They come and they go. So true plasticity programming is where you're going to literally start disciplining your imagination and attentive directive focus on different things. So the first one is, I tell people, let's just get to a place where we try to be all in on our sensory experience in the moment right now. And so you would sit quietly, get comfortable. You can be wherever you want to be. And you do a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And notice you're extending your exhale longer than your inhale. You're doing this on purpose because you want to activate your parasympathetic nervous system right out of the gate. That puts you in a better place of thinking, functioning, and clarity, as well as being able to touch to source creative thinking. So you want to start there. And it's in through the nose, belly breathing, out through the mouth. Now, if you were to do this in a Zen style, you don't even have to close your eyes. You would gaze down to the floor, and you just keep your eyes still and gaze down to the floor, okay? Or you could look and gaze at the wall. You can look wherever you want. Or you can close your eyes, all right? The goal is you want to be still and calm and then become intently aware of all of the sensations that you can take in. So that would be, what are you hearing? What are you feeling? Are you feeling the gravity pull you into the chair where you're sitting? Do you feel your clothes on your body? Are you aware of your breath and the process of your breathing? And can you be aware of multiple of those things at one time? Can you literally just be in the experience of awareness of being alive right now? That takes a lot of practice. But what it's doing is it's honing your focus and it's training you. And you know, I'm a musician. I'm a professional musician my whole life. And I used to tell people, and I found this very interesting before I started studying this stuff and learning what this stuff did really to your brain. I used to tell people, you know, when I'm on stage performing, I never am thinking about my bills. Like, never. I'm never thinking about my problems. Never. Why is that? It's because my intent and focus was so lasered in on what it was I was doing in the moment. That was mindfulness in and of itself. It's incredibly powerful. So you can train yourself in this way, and I highly encourage you to. I have a program on the Belief Hack Brainery, and if any of you are interested, just message me, and I'll be happy to share you a couple of free sessions with that. I have a full 30-day plasticity programming, train your brain mind session. So happy to give it to you. It's really cool stuff. Takes you through all kinds of different ways to discipline your brain and train your brain so that you function at a higher level. I'll leave you with this today, and we're going to do a progressive relaxation exercise. Now in psychotherapy, we call this a tension discharge exercise. But when I learned it years ago, before all this neuroscience was even popular, this was called progressive relaxation. I learned it in one of my biofeedback classes, one of my first courses. And it was just magical, and I've used it ever since. And I've used it to help people get into a place where they're very suggestive, and then we can do visualization and guided imagery, and we can practice our performance so that we get mental repetitions, and that literally creates new pathways, that literally creates new synapse connections, so that next time that response comes quicker and the performance is better, and it gets better and better and better. So if you learn this, you can do this for whatever your objective and goal is. Because you're going to be in a place after you're done with this simple exercise where your body is going to be relaxed and your mind is going to be suggestive. And it's going to be in that space, almost that trance type space, where you can then mentally rehearse whatever it is you might be working on. Let's say you're struggling and you got to have a talk at work. Well, then after you get to this deep relaxed place, mentally rehearse the outcome that you want to see with the person that you have to have this conversation with at work. Or if you've struggled at home and you and your spouse are struggling and you want to see it in a better way, get yourself relaxed, do one of these breathing exercises, and then rehearse your behavior the way you want it to be. And you'll be shocked at how quickly this gives you way more options when you're in the true moment of having to make these choices. So here's what it looks like. We're going to start with our head. We're going to do some breathing. We'll start with our head, neck and shoulders, arms, body, core, legs, and then we're going to release tension everywhere. And we're going to create an incredible stress release response. So join me in it. Deep breath in through the nose. out through the mouth. Go ahead and make that noise. Ah, that's good. In through the nose. Ah, and out through the mouth. Nice. In through the nose. Ah, and out through the mouth. Good. Now this time on the inhale, you're going to hold your breath and you're going to tense up all the muscles in your head as best what you can. And you'll crinkle up your face and you'll tense up your scalp and your neck and the whole thing. And then you're going to hold that. I'm going to count it out. And then you're going to exhale and release the tension in the muscles. The key is to be attentively aware of the focus of how tense you're able to make the muscles. And then when you exhale and drop it, how deeply you're able to relax those muscles. The concept is simply this. If you're in a place of tension, I know it sounds like ironic, but you want to increase the tension first before you release it. And the purpose is because if you can increase your tension, you're training your brain that you can also release your tension. So deep breath in. There you go. Squeeze, hold your breath, squeeze your face muscles, squeeze your head and scalp muscles. Feel the tension and feel how tight it is. Exhale and release. And just let your face drop. Very quickly, that'll start to be amazing and you're going to feel it, but let's do it 3 times each body part. Again, inhale. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Tight, tight face, tight tension. Clench your jaws. Exhale. Oh, and just let that face just drop. And last time, deep breath. Good. Squeeze, squeeze, tension. Nice. All right, now we'll do neck and shoulders, okay? Inhale in through the nose. Hold the breath. Squeeze. Make your tense shoulders come right up to your ears. Neck is tense, shoulders are tense. Exhale. And drop it. Man, oh, right away you feel how you can feel that release. It's so good. All right, deep breath in. Squeeze, squeeze the neck and shoulders up. Tight, tight around your ears. Feel the tension. Exhale and drop the shoulders and release the tension in the neck and shoulders. Good. One more time. Inhale. Bring it up. Squeeze. Hold that tension. Feel how tense. See where you're holding your tension. Exhale. And release. Good job. Now we're going to do arms, hands, and core. All right? All of this together. Inhale, and as you're doing this, you're scanning your body, of course, because you want to identify places where you're holding tension in your body. There's a very serious study right now in mind-body integrated medicine where they're really diving deep into the somatic response, right? The feeling response that people get, especially in traumatic situations, because we hold that somewhere in our body. And they're finding that if you don't literally go there and release that, it can be very detrimental, not only to your health, but for sure to your mental well-being and your capabilities. So here we go. Inhale the whole body and squeeze your core, your chest, and arms. Go. Deep breath, squeeze, hold, tighten up your whole core and all your arms, your fingers, squeeze. Exhale and relax. And just let that relax. Very nice. Again, inhale. Squeeze, squeeze your core, squeeze your whole body, squeeze your abdomen. Feel that gut tighten up. Exhale. And release. Good job. One more. Inhale. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Tighten up your abdomen, tighten up your chest. Hold it. Hold it beyond what you think you can. Exhale and release. Good. And the last one, we'll do our glutes, our legs, our calves, and squeeze that really tight. And then we're going to do the whole body twice, and then you'll be nice and relaxed. Ready? Inhale. Squeeze. If you're sitting, act like you're trying to squeeze a tennis ball in between your knees. Tighten up your legs, tighten up your glutes, tighten up your ass. Lower body, constrict the toes. Feel the tension. Notice how tense. Exhale and release. And notice how you can release those muscles and how good that feels when you let that go. Again, inhale. Squeeze the legs, ass, toes, calves. Tight, tight, tight. Exhale and let it go. Very good. And one more. Inhale real deep. Squeeze, squeeze and release. Squeeze, tense, focus. And exhale. Very good. Now we'll do our whole body. And then we're going to get into a visualization that you can utilize once your body's relaxed. Now, I understand we're doing this, virtually, and I'm walking you through it. So I'm just giving you the skill set. You'll go do this on your own. And then after you're done and you feel like you've really scanned your body and you've released tension, you're going to go into this place of visualization that I'm going to share with you and how to associate positive outcomes to whatever the situation might be that you're wanting to associate to, okay? So full body, inhale. Close your eyes, tense up your face, your body, your core, your shoulders, arms, legs, everything, and go inside. Feel how tense that is and how tense you make it, and then exhale and release. And just let your body soak up the relaxation of those muscles, just letting go and being relaxed. Oh, it just feels so good. Okay, so now the next step in this to overcome worry or to utilize for visualization and performance enhancement, repetition of a process that you have to get better at, whatever the case might be, this is where you start. You get your body totally relaxed, and now we're going to go inside. And what I'm going to ask you to do is associate a time. We're going to do this in regards to stress management because that's what I'm talking about today, but you can see how this would relate to any situation. So I want you to associate a time in your past. Think about it right now where you felt completely confident, calm, safe, empowered. And I want you to go there in your mind. I want you to associate what did you hear in that specific moment that you're visualizing? What did you smell? How did it feel sensory in your body? How did you feel when you felt so empowered? And now I would typically do this in a place where I'm laying down after I've done that progressive relaxation session with my whole body. And now I'm relaxed and I can start to focus without a bunch of distraction. Now you want to associate the new thing that you're trying to make happen, right? You're going to associate to it in your mind. And the key is you have to bring every sensory element that you can into that visualization. And when you do that, your brain doesn't know the difference that that's not actually happening in this moment. It's going to be like a repetition. And that's how you train your brain. Because now you're creating new neuronal pathways legitimately. Your neurons are reconnecting towards that old thought or that old feeling or that old memory when you were empowered and you were the dog, you were it. You're reassociating to that now. And so the more emotion that you can muster, the more state management that you can manufacture, all of your senses, try to get them all involved. What was it that you saw? What did you smell? And a good way to think about this is if you've ever been in a place where, let's say you're driving in the car and you heard on the radio a song and it instantly took you back to maybe your first girlfriend or boyfriend or your first kiss. Your whole body was there in that moment when that happened. That's what these associations do to our physiology in this mind-body connection. And in that moment, you were probably fully engaged with the memory, the thought. You remember, you could see where it was. You smelled what she smelled like, or what cologne he might have had on, or whatever the case might be. That's the key element when you start talking about learning how to practice visualization for increased and better performance. So in this scenario, we're using this for stress management. So you associate a time when you felt safe and calm and peaceful and had money in the bank, and you didn't have a worry. You were just so comfortable. That's where I want you to associate to, because now as you bask in that moment, your body's relaxed now, your mind is starting to become relaxed because the physiology change in your body. And the more you would do breathing and focus, you'll even get deeper into this. And I can't do it all in a very short session. I hope you get that. But just to give you a touch of what this can do. Now you're there. You've associated this incredible feeling of wellness and safety and comfort and love and gratitude and kindness. And you're just basking in it. Let it take over your whole body and your mind. Be in that moment. And now just let yourself be still in the moment. You don't necessarily have to visualize that thing anymore once you've got your physiology where it needs to be. And now what's going to happen is your mind is going to go to creative source thinking. Your executive functioning is going to go high. You're going to be at a higher level of cognitive capacity. And so when you're in this space, this is a great opportunity, especially when you're talking about stress and worry and anxiety. This is a great opportunity to let your unconscious give you some input, to give you some insight, and it will. And you'll get a thought. You'll get a solution idea. You'll get something that's going to benefit you in a very powerful way. And then you just rest on that. And then you'll be able to associate that to action steps. Okay, so if it was worry, and if it was what am I going to do? What if I don't have the job? What if I'm not getting a paycheck? What ifs, like I talked about, those key phrases. Those go away. Now you're solution thinking. And when you have a creative idea, then put some thought to it, because now you're capable to think and have better choices at a higher level of operating than you were when you were ruminating and all stressed out with the what ifs. So hope that makes sense to you guys. I know it's a bird's eye view as we drive over this thing. There's so much involved in true visualization for performance enhancement. I can't touch on it in one short session. But if you like this, please leave some comments. Maybe Jeff will have me back again. We could deep dive into some of this stuff, and I'd be happy to share it with you. It's very powerful to help you be better at whatever it is you're trying to be better at. And then I do have, as I said, that program, Mindfulness Towards Successful Living. It's a plasticity program, brain training module. And that's a curriculum that I've created and utilized for many years with people. And I'll be happy to send you a couple links to a couple free sessions of that. And as well, if you liked this progressive relaxation, I also have a self-hypnosis audio program that I'd be happy to share with you too for the IG Nation. And I'll let you guys just make use of that also. But that's where I'll literally walk you through a guided imagery visualization to the place where we get you very close to the alpha state in your brain waves. And now you're really in a space where what you visualize and what you start to create in your mind starts to actually start happening. So I appreciate having me on. Thank you guys. And until next time, you can find me at beliefhack.com or ljmorton.com. And I had a good time. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.